this video log with me, Wayne, from swimmingcyclingrunning.com. Well, we're going to continue our theme for the next few weeks of looking at these really good swimmers at English Nationals and seeing what they do and how you might learn from them. We're also going to compare swimmers in different types of events of the same stroke. And this week we're going to look at breaststroke. And we're going to look at the 200 metre swimmers versus the 50 metre swimmers. 50 metres very popular with Adam Peaty doing so well and breaking world records and breaking phenomenal times in the pool for a breaststroker. And if we look at 50 metres versus 200 metres, we should get a good idea of the differences between the two and what you might have to do to compromise in your stroke to get extra speed, or what you might have to compromise in your stroke to be incredibly efficient. Okay, so we're going to go to the computer, have a look at those swimmers, then come back and discuss it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the 200 metre swimmers. I'm just going to take a look at them swimming a length to see if there's a difference, or compare it to the 50 metres to see if there's a difference, a fundamental difference in swimming breaststroke. And I'd say that this is what you would call the traditional breaststroke swimming. And you can see that we have Molly Roodhouse and Natalie Coogans in the lead there. And that's quite a traditional breaststroke. Let's see if the 50 metres actually differs from that. Now this is the 50 metres from about the same point. Let's compare styles. Now the men and the women are similar, and you can see this is a much more rushed stroke. It's very difficult to see exactly what's happening and when it's happening here, but we are seeing a very different tempo in the stroke. It remains to be seen if there's actually a difference in the stroke itself. This is much more Adam Peaty-like than the previous swim. So let's just concentrate on Molly Roodhouse. She's here fully extended in her stroke. And if you notice, her arms are fully extended and so are her legs. And we're going to come back to that position and see a complete stroke. So let's just take it forward slowly. Notice her arms go out exceptionally wide and then they go into the catch. So we really do have this sort of position, very wide indeed, before she gets into the catch. Now that's pretty wide. That's a lot wider than a lot of people make their arms before they actually do the catch. Let's just get rid of that. When the catch occurs, notice she keeps her elbows high and her arms drop, or hands and arms, forearms drop down, and then she sweeps in and goes forward. Now we'll just take that back a second. She's fully in with her hands underneath her chin, and notice her legs. Her legs are still completely together there. If you notice, her legs are completely together. So she's not moved her legs, but she's got her arms under her chin. She's completed her arm movement. Now, as she goes forward and extends into her streamline, then she's pulled her legs up and turned her feet out. You can see that beautiful turn out of the feet as she brings them up as she extends into the full streamline. But she doesn't start kicking back until she's fully into that streamline position. Let's just take a look at that again. So she's bringing her feet up as she extends fully into that streamline position, and then starts the kick. You can see that streamline is completely in, and the kick therefore can take its maximum effect. You should also notice another thing. Her knees are really close together, and the direction that she's actually kicking back on is that way. She's kicking backwards in a line to try and get maximum thrust forward. You can see those feet turn out, and bang, she kicks backwards and not outwards. Now we're looking at the 50 metre swimmers, and we're going to take three in particular. We've got Keelan Fitton in the middle here. We've got Jessica Gillist over to her right, and to her left is Ashley Ransom. Now if we take Keelan first, she's nearly fully extended here, and you'll see her legs are just below the surface. She's fully extended into a lovely streamlined position. If we take that forward, you'll see her arms do a nice wide sweep, but fairly quickly then come into that beautifully high elbowed catch position, sweep in underneath her. Notice the elbows are still high. Yeah, that sweep does not lower the elbows, comes in underneath the body and then extends into that streamlined position. But by the time she's done that, you'll notice her legs come up and then kick back into that streamlined position. So that's very much traditional as we've been looking at, except the catch is happening slightly earlier. She's rushing into the streamline, and as she does that, you can see her feet are already by her bum. They're starting to kick back really powerfully and straight back into that streamlined position. And if we take Ashley Ransom next to her, we'll just go back slightly so that she's in the fully streamlined position. You can see with her it's slightly different. With her, the legs are fully recovered in this position before she's fully into her streamlined position. Her arms are streamlined, but she's not fully into that streamlined water position. She's just started her kick. So the kick is starting pretty early. The fact that she has a streamlined position but she's not fully extended in the water means that she can extend her stroke forward, and instantly, you can see instantly she's going into her stroke. So she's instantly going into her wide pull. Again, it's very wide. She keeps her elbows high, tucks it into her body and comes through again. You can see that kick starts. Now if we look at the top, we have Jessica. Jessica there is just about to go into her streamlined position, and that's where she's recovering her legs. You can see that she's recovering her legs as she goes into the streamlined position. She hits the streamlined position, but before she's in the water, before she's underwater, her legs have already started to kick back. So that's another of these 50-meter swimmers trying to speed their stroke up. And as she kicks her legs and finishes her stroke, she's already started her arm pull. You can see the arm pull starts. Again, high elbow into that position, slightly higher than the rest, but her feet are now recovering. They come up as soon as she's in that streamlined position. Bang, they kick back. So there you have it. It was quite interesting, the differences between the two. Effectively, the strokes slowed down look very similar. But the differences between 200 metres and 50-metre swimmers were that the 200 metres were going between 30 and 37 strokes a minute, and the 50-metre swimmers were going between 63 and 68 strokes a minute. Even in the final length of that 200 metres, the maximum strokes per minute I counted was 43. So they're trying to pick it up, but they haven't got the reactive speed that those 50-metre swimmers obviously have. However, the principles of breaststroke remained the same. Keeping that streamlined position as long as possible. Kicking into that streamlined position with a narrow kick that goes backwards. A wide pull and high elbows. Absolutely imperative to be able to swim breaststroke either at 200 metres or at 50 metres correctly. And when you've got that wide pull, you sweep in with those high elbows and then get into your streamlined position with a head down, so you're streamlined, and that kick can work as beautifully as it should do in breaststroke, turning those feet out completely. So the two strokes of 50 metres and 200 metres are similar, but there are subtle differences. When the 200 metre swimmer kicks, they are completely in that streamlined position, whereas in a 50 metre swimmer, they're in streamlined position, but they're not fully extended underwater, so the kick isn't necessarily having its full effect. They're working much more off those arms. And one of the things that convinces you of that increased arm activity is the actual increase in that high elbow catch that you got at the front of the stroke in those 50-metre swimmers. They were really maximising that pull to really good effect, whereas the 200 metres really were maximising the effect of their kick in that streamlined position. Okay, so that's it for the breaststroke. Next week we're going to choose a different stroke. Hopefully you've enjoyed this and it's helped you. Keep well, keep training. See you soon.